Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Dead on Dave. Welcome back to the channel and to episode 2 of the new baseball epic show, Touch 'em All, with my good friend, my pal, what's a good baseball teammate name?
Baseball teammate name?
Yeah, what can I call you? My closer, the guy behind the
Eh.
plate?
Setup guy. I don't know. We'll think
The
about that
setup
later.
man, the setup man. I like that. The setup man to my right, your left, or my left and your right, whatever. I don't even know anymore. The man, the myth, the legend.
A horizontal direction.
Or that's right. The abstract of muscle, the mountain of man, Mr. Jeff Huffman. What's going on, pal?
Pretty good Easter to be a St. Louis sports
You know,
fan.
why do you have to start? Why do you have to start? Let's just get it out of the way. We're going to talk about the Cubs and Cardinals, of course, but let's start right there. Yes, the Cardinals beat the Cubs, and we're going to get into that game and a lot more. And also,
And the Blues beat the Blackhawks.
yes, and also the Blues did beat the Blackhawks. So it was a rough night to be Jeff Huffman's friend. For those of you who don't know, Jeff Huffman has been on suicide watch because of AJ Lee's from wrestling AJ Lee's retirement announcement, but now I am the one on suicide watch because we can't beat St. Louis, and that upsets me. But but we got a lot to talk about. We thought this was going to be a show basically just about the game last night, but fuck, were we wrong? But something much bigger than the game started it off. I mean, let's face it. The biggest story coming out of last night is the Braves, out of seemingly nowhere, trading the best closer in the game, him and Arnoldus Chapman, 1-1A, Craig Kimbrel, for Melvin Upton Jr. And Melvin Upton Jr. Who's that? That used to be B.J. Upton.
Yeah, well, he couldn't read the BJ in his first name, so he needed some more letters up there just so we could see that he has a first name.
That's right. Melvin's so much better. I don't know where B.J. comes from, but that might be a high school story. You never know.
Never know.
They traded those two to the Padres for Carlos Quentin, Cameron Maybin, 2 minor leaguers, and a draft pick. And those of you who are baseball fans know just how rare it is to see a draft pick moved. It causes all kinds of confusion and craziness because the baseball draft structure is insane. But here's the reality. First-year manager A.J. Preller for the Padres is not screwing around.
Not wasting any time. He's not afraid to do it to move anybody.
No, he's not. So my question to you is, are the Padres now the front runners in the National League?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe they are.
I mean, one would argue, did they need Kimbrel? I mean, really? Did they need him? I don't know.
We were kind of, I believe we were kind of shaky on their bullpen to begin with.
Who was their closer? It was
Joaquin Benoit.
Yeah, who pitched like 4 innings last year.
Yeah, he's going to be the setup guy now.
That moves,
obviously.
Yeah, that's a much better role for him, I think.
Oh yeah.
Shouldn't be as much wear on his arm. I mean, he did not pitch a lot
and
last year.
Then you got the best closer in the game, the pterodactyl.
Yeah, it's quite scary.
Closing it out.
Let's face it, this also cleans up some of the problems they had in the outfield. They had 57 outfielders, and they traded the 2 that had the most injury problems.
Well, they did get 1 outfielder back.
Yeah, they did, but it's not. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But obviously,
I think he was just more of he was a throw-in.
Yeah, well, yeah, they were like, we'll give you Kimbrel, but you've got to take this contract. You've got to take this contract. And the Padres did. Look, this has to make Justin Upton happy. I mean, to be back with his brother again, that has to make him happy.
And you get a guy who could be a defensive replacement.
Absolutely. At the very least.
They had questions for their defense, especially in the outfield with Kemp. You don't know how his legs are going to hold up. Myers isn't the most athletic center fielder.
Yeah.
And you got Justin Upton in left.
Absolutely. Now you got a guy in Melvin Upton, excuse me.
Melvin, yeah.
He's got look, we know the talent that he has. We've seen it. This guy was an perennial all-star. He was a once MVP candidate. This guy has talent. We just don't know where it went. So we'll see what happens. This could be a very interesting move for them, and it gives them a lot of flexibility in the outfield now.
Mm-hmm.
So And, the reality is, as great as Quentin's bat might still be, it doesn't do you any good if he can't play more than 86 games a year. And that's all they're getting out of the guy. So,
which I do like the pickup for Atlanta, too. I like it both ways. I like like Carlos Quentin. He can still hit. Cameron Maybin, he's struggled with injuries, but I still believe he's got tons of talent. He's 28. He's 28 years old.
Yeah, he's 28, and he can still play defense like him. He's a plus outfielder. There's no question about that at the very least. And here's the reality of it: as good as of a coup of getting Kimbrel is, this is a win for the Braves. They clear a fuck ton of salary. I mean, really. I mean, they cleared a lot of money off their books, which is something integral that you have to do when you are rebuilding. And they've done that. They got a draft pick out of this, the 44th or 41st pick in the draft or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Jeez. They did good. They did good. And the prospects are prospects.
Yeah, Chipper Jones put out a tweet, and I completely 100% agree with this. He said the last couple of years, the Braves have gotten away from what made them the Braves. John Hart's come in, and he's bringing that back.
I agree.
I completely agree with that.
I agree. It's
Chipper Jones is a great Twitter follow, by the way.
Oh yeah, he is. I agree with that too. Chipper Jones, I'm gonna basically trust anything Chipper Jones has to say when it comes to baseball, because he's not only one of the best ball players I've ever seen in my life. The guy knows the game inside and out, and when he wants to manage, he's going to be an incredible friggin' manager. The guy knows the game, but he might be more inclined to do some management work of his own. I could see him more in that role. He seems to know both sides pretty well. But he's right. I mean, this is a great move for Atlanta. It's smart. It's savvy. And closers, even the great ones, you got to figure there's going to be a drop-off.
Unless you're Mariano Rivera.
Yes, that's true. That's true. But you think about world-class closers, and you can basically count them on both your two hands here. It's have that much longevity is not an easy thing to do. And let's face it.
Look at Brian Wilson.
Yeah, the beard. It's crazy. So we're both loving this move for both teams. Really, it seems like.
Yep.
The Padres are gonna this year. There's no question. Kimbrel,
they're for real.
Helps them this year. Next year, you never know. But this year, there's no question. You got the best closer in the game. It helps. And Upton, he's a flyer. He's just
he can run.
You're taking a flyer on him. You don't know what you're gonna get. You had to take a salary to get the job done. No problem with that. So awesome.
You do know Upton can run. You do know that.
Yes, he can.
And you can always find a way to make that work.
Absolutely. It just didn't seem like the Upton brothers were comfortable in Atlanta from day one. Even Justin. I mean,
it seemed. I don't know. Something seemed off.
It did. I think they're going to be much happier in San Diego. Not a different type of, a little bit different of a weather. I think they're going to enjoy their time there. And they're going to be competing for a title. So.
Yep.
Dodgers cannot be happy. I look for a subsequent move by the Dodgers at some point here, especially if they start slow. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'd be completely okay with that.
I'm sure. You hate L.A. You hate the Kings. You hate the Dodgers. You hate them all. That's awesome.
It's more the bandwagon people than anything.
They're terrible fans. They're just the worst. They're just the absolute – L.A. fans are just the absolute friggin' worst. I'm sorry, L.A. fans, but it's true. And most of you know it. Most of you own it.
You show up to the game in the fourth inning.
Yeah, if they're lucky.
Right. And don't give me the excuse of LA traffic.
Yeah,
I know that's got the worst. They've got the worst fucking traffic out there. But
you gonna talk to a Chicago guy about that? Seriously, we have the Loop. Fuck yourself.
I've seen the Chicago traffic too.
I don't want to hear that.
I got to the ballpark with more than enough time.
Yeah.
I got to watch batting practice, all that fun shit.
Yeah, It's absolute insanity. I mean, Lakers fans are now just Clippers fans. Same people at the games for Clippers games that were at the Laker games because they just switched jerseys. I mean, did you know that when you buy a Lakers jersey, if you reverse it, it's a Clippers jersey on the other side? It's just how flighty these assholes are. You know, it's sick. They don't care about their teams unless they're winning. It's just how it is. They don't care. They don't give a shit. Dodgers. Now everyone loves the Dodgers. Magic Johnson bought our team. Yeah, love the Dodgers. Yeah. Oh, they didn't make the playoffs or they got knocked out early. Oh, boo. Oh, maybe Kershaw's not that good. Yeah, he's only the greatest fucking pitcher in the world.
In the regular season.
Yeah, but you know what? He didn't lose on his own, okay? He didn't lose 4 games. He didn't lose 4
3.
of them.
Well, 3.
Yeah, but I mean in the same series.
Yeah, that's true. He lost 2 of them.
Yeah,
he lost 2 of them.
Did he get blown out in either of those games?
The first one.
Yeah.
They were up 6-1, and then Cardinals hung a 7 spot.
Yeah.
On them.
Can't do everything, man. You know, it's just
Which by the way, that audio clip made MLB 15 the show, did the Matt Adams home run.
That's funny.
And don't get me wrong, I love Clayton Kershaw. I really do. I love Kershaw, but every time I see the picture of him holding his hand over his face,
you just smile. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a big deal.
When Adams hit that home run, when he hit that home run off Kershaw, I started laughing.
You got pale in the face because the blood went somewhere else.
Right.
No question about that.
Okay, I'm done. I'm done with mine.
Are you done? So moving on to the actual opening night. It was a rough going for me, but let's go ahead and let's get into it as subjectively or objectively as humanly possible. Adam Wainwright put the brakes on all the enthusiasm of Cubs fans, me including, by going 6 strong innings as the Cardinals friggin' just put up a 3-burger on the Cubbies and just didn't let anything happen for the Cubs offensively. So 1 game in, and it's the same story as last year. Cubs hitters struck out a bunch, 12 times. Cubs pitchers struck out a bunch of hitters, 10 Cardinals. Cubs could not drive in runs in the clutch and stranded more men than the
I believe they're
Bermuda Triangle.
Or were they 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position?
Yes, they were.
See, Wainwright didn't. Even when Wainwright doesn't have his best stuff, he finds a way to shut you down and get out of any jam, and he did it like 4 times.
Yeah, he really did.
And once he somewhat figured out the inconsistent strike zone.
Yeah, which we'll talk about that in a second too.
Yeah, he was able to paint the corners. He wasn't throwing pitches in the strike zone. That's the awesome thing about Wainwright.
He was missing quite a bit. Yeah.
He wasn't missing. I mean, the pitches he's throwing, they look like strikes, but they're not.
Well, that's partially him, but it's also Molina. Let's face it. Molina gets the benefit of the doubt because how he frames pitches. He's the best in the game.
You got that on top of Wainwright's ridiculous pitching ability.
Yeah, it's crazy. But look, to be fair to the Cubs, they did strand a lot of guys. They stranded 7, which isn't a crazy number, by the way. But to be fair, the Cardinals actually stranded more in this game. So
that's nothing. That's nothing new.
No, it's not. But here's the thing. I think there's positives. Obviously, there's positives when you look at it as a Cardinals fan. And I'll let you get a touch on those. But as a Cubs fan, we only gave up 3 runs. The bullpen looked fantastic. Lester did not have his A game. He looked like a guy who missed a little time in spring training. Guess what? He missed a little time in spring training. Some of the younger hitters might have had the opening night jitters. Rizzo and Castro, they looked way too much. They were not aggressive enough. I wasn't happy with the lineup that Madden threw out there. I did not like the fact that, for one, Arizmendi Alcantara was not in the friggin' lineup. I didn't like that.
You had La Stella in there, who did steal a base.
He did steal a base.
He did steal a base, but he got a ridiculous jump on that too.
He did.
And Yachty still almost got him.
He did still almost get him. I was like, Jesus. But, it is what it is. I'd rather have Soler batting 4th and Castro batting 2nd.
But I didn't get that either. I did not understand that either. You got Soler, who's got so much more power than Castro, and Castro, he's a solid hitter. He can get on base for you. He can get on base for the big guys. Yeah. That made no sense to me.
Made no sense, but I think Madden's a weird guy. You know, he hit Lester eighth. What also sucked is having Lester and Ross in the same friggin' lineup, batting seventh and eighth. It kills the back end of your order, which is not great anyway. But that's only for the first go round. That's where he's right. You know, because his response to the criticism was, well, to be fair, Solaire's only batting second once. After that, he's batting third. You know, I mean, and in a perfect world, he's right. But,
yeah, that stuff's got to work out. If you do that, it has to work out perfectly, and it did in one instance.
Yeah, it did. It did. And, you know, the Cubs had, especially early, the Cubs had chance after chance to put some numbers, some crooked numbers, on Wainwright. There were some really good plays made in the outfield by your guys, and some questionable strike zone calls. You know, especially that first one. Rizzo.
They had, yeah.
But it went both ways.
They had that both ways. I mean, you have both sides, both players from each team, just looking back at the umpire when they got called on strike three.
But it was opening night. This is not a jump off the bridge moment, nor is it a get the champagne ready.
There's 161 more games.
161. It is a marathon. And you know what? I'm enthused with a lot of it. I got to be honest. I'm more concerned that nobody had a place to piss in Wrigley Field last night. And we'll move on to that story. Restroom shortages frustrates fans in the Cubs season opener at Wrigley Field with 35. This is the team's response. With 35,000 fans showing up in the ballpark tonight, we were simply not prepared to handle guests during peak periods. We have high standards for service and missed the mark. We want to apologize to our fans for the inconvenience tonight. How can you not be prepared? I don't get that. That's the one part of the statement I don't get. I'm going to throw my Cubs under the bus here. Because how can you not be prepared? It's opening night. It's Cubs Cardinals. It's on ESPN. How can you not have some porta crappers out there?
Yeah, it's ESPN. I'm not high on ESPN, but that's another story.
It's high visibility is what I mean.
Yeah, just throw some porta potties out there and
I didn't get it.
That kind of stuff.
I didn't get it.
I don't know.
But, you know, it is what it is.
It's Wrigley.
It's Wrigley. It's not perfect. The scoreboard looked awesome, but, hey, if you don't have a place to piss, it's kind of hard. I mean, the Cubs they do plan on bringing in portable units to help ease the crowds near lower deck bathrooms. So that's a good thing, and we'll see how that works out. How weird was it to not see anyone in the bleachers during that game?
It was kind of strange, but I did like the little tribute of the pictures they had out there in the outfield. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I liked it too. So what are your thoughts, your final thoughts on Game 1 for your Cardinals?
Well, they won, so obviously I'm happy.
Dynamite drop in, Jeff.
But both bullpens looked really good.
Yeah.
They both slammed the door, and a guy I was really impressed with was Jason Hayward.
Yeah.
This is a guy who last year was second to worst in the league against left-handed pitching, hitting, I think, 167.
Yeah.
Something like that. He was second worst in the league, and he's been working with Matt Carpenter in the offseason, and it's been showing. He changed up his stance a little bit. He's more upright, and he's more squared up. Because if you go back and watch some of his at-bats last year, he's got more of a closed stance, and his hips weren't moving at all when he's swinging.
Yeah.
Now when he was swinging last night, when it looked like he's more upright, he's able to generate more power, and he's able to hit those inside pitches. And also he's moved closer to the plate. He wasn't like that in Atlanta last year. He was far off the plate, and he had a closed stance, and he couldn't drive anything.
I got to be honest, last year he just really looked like his give a shit meter was empty. It did not seem like he really cared. He did not have good posture. He didn't have good plate discipline. I mean, nothing he was doing was really working. His swing looked like a friggin' unfolded lawn chair most of the time. But you're 100% right. The Cardinals got his head together. He seems to be really squaring up on balls. He's got this whole swinging gait mentality with his hips now. He's generating so much more power.
And he got 3 hits. He got 3 hits off Lester.
Yes, he did. Yes,
he got 3 hits off a lefty, who he was just absolutely abysmal against last year.
Yeah, people who are freaking out because Lester did not go 5. Look, he could have went more.
He could have. He was okay. He looked okay. He had the strikeout pitch working, especially that sweeping curve. He had that working. But the Cardinals realized he didn't have the stuff setting it, the best stuff setting it up.
Yeah.
So they were aggressive early in the counts, and when they were fouling those pitches off, they made him work, and it worked out for him.
It did. And here's the thing: there, like you're saying, the strikeout pitcher was definitely working. Here's the thing: he didn't have to go more. Why stretch him out in a game that was getting away from you? The offense was not producing. It didn't look like it was gonna happen. I don't know. Did they? I think they subbed Ross as well when he went out and brought in Montero. So
Montero came in to pinch hit, and they double switched him,
which is a really good thing to do earlier in the game. You bring in Montero, so not only are you losing, you're getting Lester out of the game where he doesn't have his A game, but you're also making an offensive substitution earlier in the game than you would normally do. Plus, Montero's a great backstop anyway, so it made so much more sense to make that move. Why stretch him out? Why risk injury? And you want to see what the bullpen has. And let's just say this: the Cubs bullpen looked really, really sharp.
Yeah, Phil Koch was nasty last night.
Oh, if Koch works out, man, oh my God,
Phil Koch is nasty against lefties.
Yeah, if he works out, he could be the difference maker for that bullpen. Him and Mott. Jason
Mott, and Mott seems like he's got the control under him as well.
Yes, he does.
He's got more control over him as well. Because when he was in St. Louis, there were talks that actually there weren't talks. It was a known fact that he couldn't fully see to home plate.
Yeah.
So you got this guy who's throwing 96, and he doesn't 100% know where it's going.
It's not going, yeah. So what are your predictions for the rest of this series? Forget the rest of the world of baseball. For the rest of this series, what is your prediction?
Okay, well, who do we got matching up in games 2 and 3 pitching-wise?
I know I got Arrieta and Hamels going.
Arrieta and Hamill?
Yeah, I got Arrieta going in game 2.
Okay, and I believe we are lacking Lynn.
I think we got favorable matchups, to be honest. I think I know you're not a believer in Arrieta, but I really like Jake Arrieta.
Yeah, maybe the Arrieta and Lackey. I'd give you that one.
I'm not sure. Lynn's kind of a mixed bag. You don't know what you're going to get out of him. And I guess you can say the same thing about Jason Hamill. So.
Yeah, but the thing is, when Lynn's on the mound, he gets a ton of run support.
True.
He gets a ton of run support. And, dating back to 2013 and before, he would usually have one bad inning.
Yeah.
Call it the Linning, where he would give up at least 3 runs. And then after that, every other inning, other than the inning where he gave up the runs, he was awesome. Well, last year he cut that out.
Well, hopefully for my sake, I'm hoping that it comes back and he gets the yips or whatever. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But it should be a really, really good rest of the series. We got a day off today so we can focus on other baseball. But I'm excited, man. Even though the Cubs didn't get on the board, I'm really excited for the rivalry. I'm excited for the rest of the season. Welcome back, baseball.
Yes.
Welcome back. So let's talk about a couple other things real quick here.
Okay.
We talked about the Padres making a huge move, and we also both agree that this makes them the clear favorite in the National League now. But it's not only.
Well, I don't know about the National League.
Well, in the National League, I think they're the favorite, and it's
Padres?
not just because. Yes, and it's not just because of the move.
Okay.
And I'll explain why. It's not only just because of that move. It's also because of what happened to the Washington Nationals yesterday. Everyday players Jason Worth, Anthony Rendon, I'm sorry, and Denard Span. 4th outfielder Nate McLeod, 8th inning setup man Casey Jansen are among 6 players put on at least the 15-day disabled list for the Washington Nationals. So is this problems already for the Nats, and how important is it for them to get off to a great start, especially now that the Padres have made a move to kind of make them the alpha dogs in the NL?
Well, I mean, you can't win a division in April, but you can definitely lose it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't think the Nationals have completely lost the division because they still got
division.
They've still got that disgusting rotation.
Sure.
I think they'll be okay. Rendon will be back in about 2 weeks. They said he'll be back around middle of April.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and then right. Denard Span, he's a staple out there in center field. Can run, great defender, and he gets on base.
Yes.
Jason Worth is very sneaky, 35, 36 years old. He can still play. He can still run, hit, throw.
And let's face it, they're still paying him an ass ton of money to get
Mm-hmm.
out there and play the friggin' game. Their biggest concerns was outfield. And guess what? They just lost 3 outfielders. They lost 3 of them. They lost their starting center fielder, and I don't know why I'm flipping the camera off. You lost Jason Worth and Nate McLeod, who's your 4th outfielder. So who do you got? Now where does all the pressure fall on? The guy that Matt Williams fucking hates, Bryce Harper. This could be disastrous. And you're losing your big bat in the middle of the order in Rendon. This is a disastrous thing to happen to the Nationals. Now, it's not as bad because they play in the East where they should at least, even if they start out bad, they should be able to stay competitive.
Yeah, because you got the doormats in Philly, and I'm gonna call Atlanta somewhat of a doormat.
They are, but you know what? They're doing it the right way at least. At least they're being a good doormat.
Yeah, Atlanta's being smart about the decisions, and
I agree. They're not tanking either, people.
Yeah,
they're not tanking.
They're not tanking.
They are rebuilding, and they're doing it brilliantly, by the way. So, but it's got to come into your mind if you're a Padre to be like, "Oh, we got this motherfucker now." You know, I mean, it's got to come into your mind when there's clear blood in the water, and hell, if the Padres start off on a crazy streak, and the Nationals do not get off to a good start. 5 or 6 games here or there in early April could be the difference between home field advantage in the NLCS.
Yep.
So that's why I think this is an important thing for the Nationals. That's why I think this is an important story. And that's why I'm saying this really does swing the favor in the direction of the Padres.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. But they're not the only team that had some injury problems. The Orioles, who was already having a disastrous offseason.
After they got sodomized in offseason, yeah.
They did by losing Markakis and, of course, the 46 home runs that Nelly Cruz had. I mean, that's a big, big loss. But now they've gone and placed 4 players on the DL themselves, including probably outside of Adam Jones, their 2 biggest bats left, and J.J. Hardy and Matt Wieters. Now, nobody expected Wieters to start the season because he was still coming off of Tommy John. So him being on the DL is fine. But with all the losses to the O's in the offseason, how big of a deal is losing Hardy?
Definitely. I thought he was going to have a big comeback year for the Orioles this year. And who are they sticking at shortstop now? Who would they be sticking at shortstop now?
That's a good question. Let me bring him up. Let me find out because I don't even know. But it's a tough one. This is such a tough situation.
No, it is because he does have some pretty good power for a shortstop.
He does. The guy can still rake. I mean, he might not be the greatest average hitter in the world, but he's got some pop.
You've lost a solidified bat. You've lost a proven bat in the lineup.
Yes, at the very least. And not having Wieters in there really, really does hurt. But, they were kind of expecting that.
They played okay. They played well without him last year. So
next man up without Hardy, I guess would be Everett Cabrera if he's still on the team.
I believe he is.
Which, he's a nice player defensively at the very least. But you're talking about a guy who hit 248 last year.
Yeah.
Or no, for his career, he's a 248 hitter. Jeez.
Yeah, he hasn't been known for his bat.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. That's for damn sure.
I do remember seeing him make some ridiculous plays on MLB Network, though.
Yeah. Well, he only played in 90 games last year. He didn't even compile 400 at-bats. He had 3 home runs. What did he bat? He hit 232. I mean, he had a 300 slugging percentage.
Shortstop is a defensive position anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, if you can get a guy that can hit out of that position, even better.
You're losing Hardy though and having to replace him with a guy like this is not easy. So I don't know. This is tough for the Orioles. I think this is quite a big blow. It could affect them because the East I think is probably the one division where the early games of the season might matter the most because of how flighty this division's going to be. It could be so crazy.
Anybody can win the division.
Yeah, and I really do feel that depending on how the beginning of the year goes, we could have a clear front runner right from the jump. I mean, who's to say that if Boston comes out and just puts their foot on the entire division to start the year, that doesn't continue on for the rest of the season? This is just this is a disastrous thing for the Orioles. Just how big, I guess we're not going to know quite yet.
We won't know. Won't know for some time.
It's going to be quite crazy. Before we get to the fantasy world, you got any other stories in baseball you would like to touch on?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head right now.
Well, that's why I have you here for all your dynamite drop-ins. That's going to be a new catchphrase for you. Dynamite drop-in, Marty. Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, it was an interesting opening day. A lot of fun, I think. I like that there was only one game. Some people don't, but I actually enjoy that.
Yeah, well, now today ESPN's got a whole orgy of games going on. So.
That's right, an orgy of games. I like that. Good alliteration. I like that. An orgy of games. I like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. So let's go ahead and jump to the world of fantasy baseball. And, of course, when I'm talking about fantasy baseball, I'm talking about the Dead on Dave Productions Fantasy Baseball League, because really that's all that truly matters.
Right.
Right. Of course, obviously. So, you and I are starting off in week 1 playing each other. Mm-hmm. And you've jumped out to a big lead because of the performance of some of your guys from last night. But I got a respectable 15 points out of Lester, basically. So,
yeah.
So,
you're still definitely in reach easily.
God, yeah. It's we have a full week of baseball. I mean, that was an extra day. Yeah. Sunday was an extra day. So my question to you is, for those people out there who could not be a part of the Dead on Dave Productions Fantasy Baseball League, what fantasy tips can you give some of the youngsters out there to get a little bit of an edge? And I know I'm throwing this at you without any prep or warm-up. I just thought it would be fun. What tips can you give some of them young bucks out there who want to win and make an impact, and maybe even help out Black Mamba, since we both know he's terrible, to compete in their divisions?
Well, I mean, if you're looking for for a shortstop or second baseman, a real sneaky guy you could pick up, because obviously I lost Rendon.
If you need a shortstop, I put Castro on the market.
If you're looking for a good second baseman or shortstop for to pick up, because if Rendon got hurt in your league, pick up. I can't say his name. Adubel Herrera. He plays for Philadelphia.
Asdrubal?
No, there's no S.
Oh, okay. Well, there is an Asdrubal. I know that. There is a guy named Asdrubal.
Asdrubal Herrera?
Not Herrera, Cabrera, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
don't worry. Don't pay attention. Please continue.
Yeah. You pick up the second baseman / shortstop, Adubel Herrera. Anyway, the guy can hit and he can run, and I would assume he's going to be hitting in the top of the lineup for Philly. And with Philly's really old offense, I expect this guy to be running a lot.
Did you just pick that tip because that's the move you made today?
Yeah, I did.
Because you had to drop Mr. Tomas.
Yeah.
I don't know if you should have dropped him. I might snatch him up. I'm thinking about it, because I don't think he's going to make a long stint down there in AAA. Now, here's the question. For guys like him, Jock Peterson, Soler, Chris Bryant, of these guys who, 2 of which have started in the major leagues, 2 are starting in minor leagues, who do you think is going to be the guy that people should be holding on to the most tight-fisted right now? I mean, do you think it would be a good move for someone, I don't know, like in our league, what's his face, who has Rockstar or whatever, Rocktober, whatever. Should he trade me Chris Bryant? Because I'm trying to get him to, but he's being a dick about it.
Bryant's not going to be down there long.
Yeah. Well,
I definitely will. Well, I doubt he'll be down there long. And the dude's a fucking machine.
He is. So you're saying hold on to him.
Yeah.
Do not dump Chris Bryant's stock, folks. That's so saith Huffman. What do you think about Jock Peterson? What do you think about his fantasy value?
Well, he's going to be starting in center field, right?
Yes, he is.
We got a little glimpse of him last year. I like what he can do. just have to wait and see what he does because he's not as hyped up as obviously as Chris Bryant or Tomas is.
Yeah. But he is he's in the candidacy for Rookie of the Year, though. I mean, already. I mean,
yeah.
His name is there. Him, Soler, Chris Bryant. By the way, I'm putting it right down right now. I know he didn't have a great day yesterday. Jorge Soler will be your Rookie of the Year for the National League. I'm calling it right now.
I'm not going to be surprised by that at all.
That's what I'm thinking. So, any other fantasy things you'd like? We need to clean that segment up and figure out exactly what we want to talk about when it comes to fantasy. Anything else you want to talk about in the world of fantasy baseball?
No, that's about all I got today.
That's awesome. So, hey, this was episode number 2 of Touch 'em All. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you, Jeff Huffman, my backstop man, my middle reliever, my setup man. What can I say? You're the Chipper to my Jones. I can't.
Oh, there you go. I like that.
Yes, I like that too. It was rather sweet.
It was
sweet. Waxing philosophical. So thank you for joining me, man. I appreciate it. As always, your baseball knowledge humbles me, and it's good to have you here. So
thank you very much.
Oh, no problem, buddy. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Go ahead and put in the comment section below anything that you want to hear us talk about on next week's show. I'm sure we're going to have much more to talk about because baseball will be in full swing, pun intended. Thank you guys very much. Check out Jeff Huffman over on Grand Slam 87, all the stuff he's doing. He's doing all kinds of crazy video game videos. He's got baseball
I
stuff
try
going
to
on.
when I got time.
You're kicking the ass, there's no question. And, of course, follow him on Twitter as well, at Grand Slam 87, because we know right here on Dead on Day Productions that that's just not his handle. Grand Slam 87 is a way of life. So we will see you next time right here on Dead on Day Productions. Peace.